Okay. Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome. I'm so glad to see so many new faces and regulars. I'm Ellie Wyndham, and I'm the founder and program manager for Walking in Other People's Shoes. I'm based in Brooklyn, New York, and Walking in Other People's Shoes strives to empower women of color voices by providing transformative experiences through storytelling and community. We're really happy that you could join us tonight for the Multicultural Children's Book Club. This is a monthly free virtual book club for children, parents, educators, and people who want to dive deeper in themed activities and concepts around race, identity, and culture. Additionally, we share themed activities and snack ideas. And I want to introduce you to our two amazing facilitators. One is going to come join in as soon as she finishes her class. She's still in college, but she's our facilitator for our activity. But I want to introduce you to Mia Wenchen, and she's our main facilitator for our book club. Mia blogs on parenting, children's books, and education at pragmaticmom.com. She's also the co-creator for the Multicultural Children's Book Day. It's a nonprofit that celebrates diversity in children's books, and she's based in the Boston area. And then we have Ruth, who will join us in a little bit, and she's our activities facilitator. And she's a sophomore at Lehman College, and she's pursuing a bachelor's in speech pathology and audiology, and followed by a master's in speech pathology. And these I'm so impressed. These degrees will help her to continue her work in schools and provide extra support in speech to students with special needs. And she's based in the Bronx. And you can also follow Walking Other People's Shoes on the Instagram or Facebook to keep following up with our activities and events. So I want to pass it along to Mia. And go ahead.
Hi, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for coming. I'm really excited today because I have this wonderful book, Opal Lee and What It Means to Be Free, The True Story of the Grandmother of Juneteenth. And it's by Alice Faye Duncan, who is here at this very moment and also will be at the end. This month it's February, so we're celebrating Black History Month, which, we can do year round as well. And just for anyone who hasn't been coming regularly, Black History Month, a year ago, we had Tamara Shiloh share her multicultural children's bookstore, a female Black-owned business in Northern California, and kind of talk about all her favorite books. We also had Carol Boston Weatherford 2 Junes ago, who introduced Juneteenth
Jamboree. Yeah, I love that
to us. Also had a great presentation. And what is actually so great about this book is that, there's multiple months that it fits in perfectly. Like, this is a really great book for February for celebrating Black History Month. But then March, next month, Women's History Month, you got Opal Lee, and then June rolls around, Juneteenth, you got, so this is a book that's, is perfect for any classroom library, school library, home library, because, you're getting a lot of information and story that can be used throughout the year. So I always like to do a book club with a theme snack idea, because I feel like snacks are a way to get the kids excited. And so this for today's giveaway, I went and I found Yolele, which is a Black-owned business, and they have these really great snacks. This is tangy bao bao with onion and moringa. This one is chili, onion, and lime. And then I got 2 bags of this one, which is just sea salt. So I'm giving away these 4 bags, and we're supporting Black-owned businesses. Thought that'd be great snacks if you guys want to do a book club at home. And I think it would go nicely with this book, as well as Juneteenth also has some, kind of symbolic foods and drinks. So you could really round it out. You could get a drink and velvet cake and have something salty, and you can make a real party out of this book. Alice was going to read the entire book, but I told her, we normally don't read the entire book just because of copyright, because sometimes the publishers say it's okay to read the whole book, but then they change their mind, or you know what I mean? Because it kind of just depends. And since we record it and stays on YouTube in perpetuity, we just want to make sure that, we're never really in anyone's bad graces. So what I like to do is I like to just share my favorite pages. And that way you have a gist of the story. And that means when you get a copy of the book yourself, there's more to explore and enjoy. So I'll just read a few of the pages and you'll get a real sense of what this book is about. So, happy Juneteenth Jamboree. Come and join the fun. Opal Lee waved to her great-grandson as he barreled across the park. He zipped past lines of picnic tables covered with platters of barbecue, baked beans, tomato tarts, and raspberry cobbler. The illustrations are by Kentura A. Bobo, and they're very gorgeous. He's a New York Times bestselling illustrator. So that's always fun when you get a fantastic illustrator for your book. So Opal Lee's going to tell the story of Juneteenth now. So this is, kind of going back to the past. So she's saying, to her grandkids and to everyone gathered. Once upon a blazing sun, Black bodies were bought and sold like cattle. Black men plowed the fields, but were not allowed to own the land. Black women cooked the food, but were not allowed to feast on roast and ribs from the master's table. Black children cleaned the one-room schoolhouses, but were not allowed to read or write. Earning and learning were against the law. Slavery was a thief. American slavery dragged on like a plague until January 1st, 1863. That's when President Lincoln wielded courage and raised his feathered pen. He signed the Emancipation Proclamation with a mighty stroke. Glory, glory, glory. Freedom was dazzling news like a bright, starry night. However, Texas was big and many miles away from Mr. Lincoln. White masters defied his words. Black bodies remained in bondage. They plowed, they cooked, they cleaned. Freedom did not ring through Texas in 1983. And then things changed. The year was 1865. The day was June 19th. Gordon Granger marched through Galveston with Union Army troops. The general raised his booming voice and spoke these righteous words. The people of Texas are informed that, in accordance with a proclamation from the Executive of the United States, all slaves are free. And so that was great news. Singing filled the air. Happy tears rolled down like rain. Black families leapt through cotton fields and played tambourines. It was a day of jubilee, perfect for Texas barbecue, watermelon, and sweet potato pie. Delicious delights they had been denied during servitude. But as Opal Lee continues, there's another story that she wants to tell. And this is a story that the oppression wasn't over. She said, back in her time, Blacks and whites lived separately when I was a child. Jim Crow signs littered the old Fort Worth in every public place. Black families were banned from Forest Park Zoo, except one day of the year. On Juneteenth, we could picnic, party, and ride the Ferris wheel. I hated that zoo. I loved it too. The birdhouse was my favorite. So her great grandson, Buddy, he groaned and he shook his head. Those old days don't sound good. But then Opal Lee said, you know what? Good and bad work together like sun and rain. I spent good days on my granddaddy's porch reading poetry books. His farm was my playground. I ran across the fields and climbed the tallest oak. Glory, glory, glory. Some memories are chocolate sweet, but some memories cut and bruise. My saddest season started on Juneteenth Day, 1939. An angry mob with flaming sticks burned my family's brand new house. Their broken minds and evil hearts were so afraid of Black progress. The police made no arrests. My family moved away. Yet the embers burn. That fire still lives in me. I learned a big lesson that Juneteenth Day. Freedom is a golden coin. Struggle makes it shine. That might be one of my favorite lines ever. It's like it's so hopeful against such terrible oppression. Freedom is a golden coin. Struggle makes it shine. And so Opal Lee kind of continues, celebrating and talking to these kids. She rested against the blooming trees and whispered into the wind. Remember my words for safekeeping. Remember what I say. Freedom is for everyone. Juneteenth is you and me. And then we have a lot of information in the back. So there's a recipe for strawberry lemonade, which would go with those chips. And oftentimes there's like red velvet cake as well. She also has a Juneteenth timeline. More information about Opal Lee and a bibliography if you want to read more. And so anyway, Alice Faye Duncan is kind of a rising star in children's books. I also wanted to share another book that I also received. And this book is by Kim Taylor. It's a flag for Juneteenth. It's just, it's nice to pair together. And it's not about a particular, it's about a particular person, but I don't think she's a real person in real life. But what I think is so amazing is that the author, Kim Taylor, learned to quilt during the COVID lockdown. And her illustrations are all her own quilting. Like she literally made these beautiful quilts. And that is, that's the illustrations. And there's just a long tradition of quilting as well. Like if you read, is it Clara Lee and the Freedom Quilt? I think I'll have to think of the title, but that because, the enslaved people were not allowed to read and write, that quilts sometimes could be a way of secretly communicating. And Clara Lee in that story, a quilt was also very difficult, to get materials to make, but it was used as sort of like a secret map to show the escape route from slavery. So I just thought like that is also another beautiful book to pair together. And let's see, I think my time is up. Let's see, oh yes, yay, Ruth is here. Okay, let's take it away, Ruth.
Hello, everyone. It's nice to finally be here in person instead of being here pre-recorded. I had my class literally just ended, so it's perfect right when my activity facilitating starts. So as always, I have to comment on the book. I loved it. It really opened my eyes and taught me more about Juneteenth, right? I really started to learn about it more when I was in high school, because first what we learned is, oh, okay, y'all, my camera is going a little bit crazy, so it's going to make it interesting for us today. But as I was saying, I learned more about Juneteenth in high school, and I thought it's something more that, African Americans celebrate. And I was like, okay, like this is their holiday. I don't want to intrude on that. But the book, it touched on us uniting and coming together, and it being something that all all people come and celebrate, right? To celebrate the liberty of African Americans here in this country. So I thought that was something really beautiful, and that's kind of what led me to our activity for today. So now what everybody's gonna need, I'm gonna give you all 1 or 2 minutes. Our basic materials of some white paper or construction paper, and then our crayons and pencil. So everybody can just give me a thumbs up or an okay in the group chat, in our chat, and just to let me know that you have everything you need.
And while you guys are gathering up, I'll just share some of the comments. Rasika likes the packaging. I think she means of the chips. I know, right?
Okay.
I thought like the box was great. And Rasika also said these illustrations are wonderful. And I think she's referring to Opal Lee as well. Anne says amazing artwork. And Debbie says they're so vibrant.
Okay, does everybody have what they need? Yes? Okay, perfect. So the first thing that I want us to do is to just quickly write a title on our paper. We're just gonna quickly write Juneteenth, Uniting for Freedom. That just really stood out to me from the reading, how it's like I said, it's not something that's only African Americans, but we can all unite together, and that's what makes us stronger together, right, as a country, and that movement towards freedom. So just writing as a title, Juneteenth, Uniting for Freedom. Okay. All right, now my camera's not crazy. Perfect. So I think you guys can see it up here. Right up here, I went ahead and wrote it. So that should have taken us like 30 seconds, 1 minute, depends on how quick you're writing. Is everybody able to write that? Everybody has that written down? I can get a yes, a thumbs up, a yes in the chat. Yeah, okay, perfect. Alrighty. So what we're gonna start with doing is we are going to draw a heart in the center of our paper, right? Because love is the center of everything. If there's no love, well, our world would be a worse place. Let's just say that, right? So we're starting with the heart in the center. I just did it in pencil, because sometimes hearts can come out wonky. And what I want to do is I'm going to trace it over with a crayon. I'm going to use a red crayon because, the heart is red. So I'm going to go ahead and use a red crayon. Just in my little outline for my heart. So now this is just going to be a guide, because what we're going to do now is we're going to draw multiple little hearts around this heart. Now, the difference is going to be is that the hearts are not going to be red. They're going to be different colors representing different skin tones, right? So in the book, it was saying those who have lighter skin tones, golden skin tones. So it's just including all people, all skin colors, all races, right? So that's going to be our next step. And I'm just going to show you guys how I do that really quickly. So I'm just going around, drawing some hearts around. Yes, hearts. And Valentine's Day, I mean, it kind of falls perfectly because Valentine's is coming around the corner, right? So it works wonderfully. Does anybody have any Valentine's Day plans? No.
I'm going on a Galentine's dinner
Ooh,
Nice.
with my girlfriends.
yes. That sounds amazing. Yes. Anybody else? No, are we just staying home in our PJs and watching Netflix?
Is anyone sending out Valentines to anyone? Or making Valentines at home?
I think they're busy drawing their hearts.
They're concentrated. They're trying to make some good hearts. Okay.
Rosica's gonna make furniture with her husband. That's awesome.
Ooh.
We
Sounds
want to
like-
ask, did we miss the reading? We did finish that portion, but it is recorded. So hopefully Ellie will get it up quickly. But you still have time to hear from the author, Alice Faye Duncan, who's here with us, and we'll be speaking to her after the activity.
Alrighty, y'all.
Danielle's in a band and she has rehearsal. Wow.
Ooh, we have some talented people in
Awesome.
here. DIY furniture. I don't know. Maybe she'll have to take over for one activity facilitation just to give us a DIY, learn some new things. Was everybody able to finish drawing their hearts? It's okay we didn't color it in yet. I just finished drawing mine, but yes. Let's see.
I think Ellie was going to share hers.
Oh, let's see, Ellie.
Oh, I know. I have that.
The blurring. Yeah, I see it. That's perfect. Yeah.
Ooh, you have some cute little hearts. Mine came out unique. I'll just say that. Let's see. Does anybody else want to share their hearts, what they have so far, or work in progress?
I see some young artists hard at work. Maybe they will share.
Yeah. They seem very concentrated. They're like, let me finish my artwork and then I'll share.
Here we go.
Ooh, it is
Whoa,
coming
that's
out
so
beautiful.
pretty.
So pretty.
It's a
Ooh, I'm a-
rainbow. Fantastic.
Oh, so pretty. All the
Look at all the
colors.
hearts.
I
A
love it.
wonderful artist right here. Future illustrator, perhaps.
Are you gonna frame it and send it over to me?
What? Say it again, Mama.
I made a little face by like.
You made a little face on it.
Yeah.
A little face on it.
The faces. That's a great idea.
I mean, that's actually our next step. I think she might have read my mind. That's actually our next step. So, but first we have to finish coloring our hearts, right? We're gonna quickly color in our hearts, and like I said, remember our different skin tones, where our inclusivity or unity on here. So we're gonna have some brown hearts. We're gonna have some. We can leave some blank, some white hearts, some tan hearts.
I see Leanna's kids hard at work. Does anyone want to share over in California?
So
Or Viking. Our Viking might share.
yeah.
Wow, that's great.
So these people are baking some hearts.
They're
Nice.
baking some hearts.
They're
Okay.
baking some
Okay.
hearts. Like maybe like hot cookies. Yeah.
Yum.
Oh, okay, got it. got it.
Heart-shaped cookies. That's a great idea for Valentine's.
Yeah.
And then there's a big heart in the middle. And yeah.
Yeah.
You can also bake heart-shaped cookies if you're celebrating Juneteenth or Black History Month with this book.
Oh, there's a good idea.
That from you.
Bake the cookies. Yeah.
Y'all, I have to send some over to us over here in New York. Well, I'm in New York, so.
Or show us pictures next month.
Huh?
Let's see. Alrighty, y'all. So I have some colored hearts surrounding my heart, making it nice and colorful there. So, as the little one said around here, we're gonna actually be drawing a face in the center of our heart, and it's gonna be a portrait of us, right? Because we want to be the ones supporting this unity, supporting this stuff. So it's just a little reflection, right? A little bit of thankfulness. Because what we're gonna do afterwards is we're gonna write some words of some of the freedoms that we've been able to achieve, right? I mean, we still have a long way to go, right? In some cases, but like the book was saying, education, things that were really restricted back then, you know. For example, one of the things that the book was saying is that the children, they would clean the schools, but they weren't able to be in them themselves, or the mothers that would cook and they weren't able to eat of that food themselves. So just some things that we are thankful for, some freedoms that we've been able to acquire. And those are some things that we're going to write around after we do our portrait in the center of our heart.
And then I'll just remind you from the book. Let's see, they said also that they were banned from the zoo, except for one day a year. And then here you had the drinking fountains.
Yeah.
Segregated.
And to think that was not so long ago, right? I mean, I'm 20 now, but you know, some of these things were like, what, correct me if I'm wrong, about like 50 years ago, right? You know, like things like interracial marriage. Those were some things that were prohibited. So it's crazy to think, you know, if that's in 50 years, just imagine what we can do in 10 years, what we can do in 20 years. And I think that's one of the important things that the book is emphasizing, because we can't do it alone, right? It's not something one race can do on its own. It's something we all have to work on towards together. Because when we open one door, we're opening for everyone. So let's see. Alrighty, everyone. So I'm gonna have to
I see a hand up. Do you want to share?
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I just did some different I look like this now. I look like this.
Ooh, I love it.
So great. Wow, that's wonderful.
He had little legs, he had a little arms. They say, I love you.
Oh, that's so nice. I love it. Wow, you're such a great artist. What does it say at the very top? Oh, it has the words.
What's it say at the top, Mama?
Mm,
Juneteenth.
14.
Juneteenth.
18th. Wow.
I love it. It's beautiful.
Say thank you.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. So let's see. So what I did is like I said, I went ahead and drew myself in there because I want to be a part of that love, part of that unity. So does anybody want to share what they have so far? Because we just have one last part to continue. Yep, go ahead, Deanna. And
Is this thing I drew?
Whoa, that's a great face. Look at that. What great
we have-
expression you
we
got.
have
A
some
mouth.
illustrators here.
Oh, there's so much detail. Faces are hard. Portraits are hard. And yours is really, really great.
Yeah.
Thanks.
You got nostrils. It's very proportionate too. Wow.
You beat me to-
Another budding artist, perhaps future illustrator, animator, artist, right here.
Does anybody else want to share?
Any adults? Leanna's daughter. Yeah. Oh, look how
Ooh,
pretty.
I love
Can
the
you scooch it a little bit to the left? There we go. So we can see it. Wow, that's another great face.
What do you say? Thank you.
Thanks.
You're
You're
welcome.
welcome. That's amazing.
That looks so fantastic.
Any adults on here? Come on, y'all. The kids are sharing.
I think Ellie's willing to.
Ellie, you ready? 1 second. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Fine. Okay,
I-
we'll move on. We'll move
Go
on
ahead.
to the next part. Meanwhile, it's okay. So, like I
No
said, we're
pressure.
just we're just gonna go ahead and write some things that we're thankful for, and like I said, some things we've been able to achieve. So some things like education, right? I'm truly grateful for the opportunity to have education. My parents immigrated here to the United States to give me some of those opportunities. I'm currently studying for speech pathology, and those are some things that maybe in the past would not have been a possibility for me. So thanks to the efforts of others, that's something that I have access to, and family and my little brothers have access to as well. So that's the word I'm gonna write on here because that's something that I'm thankful for. Education. I'm gonna go over it in crayon just to make it stand out, but just writing that on there. And that can be anything unique to you, you know. I mean, I think education is something that everyone could be thankful for. But maybe it can be, let's see, the zoo, right? That's something that was prohibited before and something that we might take for granted. But think about it, how many fun adventures have we had at the zoo? I know I've been to the Bronx Zoo. That was my school trip in elementary school every single year, and I loved it. So those are some small things. Does anybody want to share anything that's popping to their head that, you know, we might be able to relate to? Oh, yes, I see a hand. Go ahead, girl.
Okay, go.
I'm thankful for my toys and my family.
Oh, really nice.
yes. Yeah, girl, you're right. Yes, because now we can be together with our family right in our home. That's amazing.
And I bet you're good at sharing your toys.
Yeah, I know.
It's so cute.
Very good, mommy.
Well, one thing I learned where I grew up in Seal Beach, one town over was the city of Westminster. And I didn't realize it was segregated. And they wouldn't let Mexicans or Mexican Americans go to white schools. And I grew up, you know, my whole life, I had no idea. And it was actually during Japanese internment, when all the Japanese were forced into like prison camps, that one family leased their land and they leased it to a Mexican family. And that Mexican family, the kids were a little bit darker than their cousins. So their cousins were allowed to go to the local school, which was better than the all Mexican school, but they were not. So they did this whole, you know, like lawsuit and got the whole community to fight to go to the same schools. And that was even before Brown and the, you know, Board of Education. That was the very first. And that was like, that's that's one town over from where I grew up. Like that's where I used to go to the mall. And I had no idea until I start, you know, like until I was an adult, like 10 years ago, and blogging on children's books. So, I mean, there's so much to learn because, you know, we don't learn this type of history, especially back, you know, when I was your age in our history classes or our history books. And that's also why I just love like children's books and picture books, because, you know, you probably won't learn about Opal Lee in your history books, but you get such a great understanding just from one picture book of like, you know, 30 or 40 pages. It's like a whole curriculum, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I know, I agree. I feel like with children's book, it's like I get insight every time I read it and I'm like, wow, is this for the kid or for me? You know, it's those different things. So that's why I'm like I said, I read the book and I was like, I got to learn a lot more about Juneteenth, and I was like, oh, so it's not a holiday we just leave alone for African Americans. Okay, it's something that we all celebrate together and we help them celebrate. So it was something that I myself learned, and, you know, I'm gonna try to implement. So, you know, I added the words on here, family and friends, and then I also added on voting, right? Voting is not a right that was accessible to everyone back then. And that's something that we have a way of sharing our voice. Job opportunities, right? They were very restricted before. You had to work on the land. That's the only opportunity you had. Reading and writing, and I mean, that goes hand in hand with education. And there's so many more things that probably not coming to mind that we do in our everyday life. Taking the bus, MTA, you know, you couldn't, you know, we know the story about Rosa Parks, just those small things that we don't think about, but back then it was difficult. So let me see. I'm gonna actually write that down. The MTA, I can sit on my bus. I don't have
Anywhere
to.
you want. Yep.
Exactly. So this is somewhat my finished results. All right, I'm gonna go over these with crayon just to give it some pop of color, and color in the background. But this is the outcome that we all should have somewhat, a basis. So does anybody else want to share their final results?
I think Rasika has hers up. Oh, wait, here's
That
Debbie. Okay. Oh,
oh,
it's a little bit blurry. Do you mind just Debbie? It kind of
Oh, she has her background
yeah, because you're back. Okay, well, right there,
There
stop.
it is.
Yeah, perfect.
Oh,
now we
I
can see it.
see.
Ooh, I
Beautiful
love
heart
it.
with a happy smile.
Heart.
Lovely. That's so great.
What did you write? If you don't mind, where in your background, what did you write?
I have family, health, education.
Yeah, that's another one. Health.
That's
Ooh,
a great
that's
one.
a
That's
big
a great
one.
one.
We could go on for.
Rasika has a beautiful, oh my goodness, look at the children in your heart. You're an artist as well.
Ooh, that is beautiful.
So I've written freedom to marry who you love. So yeah, so we have a lot of interracial marriages which are still not allowed. So I would want this to happen.
Yeah, that's a big one. There's a movie, I forgot what it's called, but it's the first interracial marriage who went to court. I don't recall the name, but it's a wonderful movie. We go on Google and just search. I'm sure it'll pop up, but it's a really good one.
Yeah,
So
Loving versus Virginia is the court case.
oh, there you go.
If you
Okay.
type in Loving versus Virginia, the movie might come up.
Yeah.
There's also some there's a great like a middle grade book, children's book about that. More than one, I think, but
Anybody else? Any of our kiddos want to show us your end results? Ooh, I love her. She's I see. Are you raising your hand? Yeah, show us your final result.
This is not related.
that's okay.
But I would like to chime in and what the last person said about freedom to love and marry. Because if it wasn't for that case, Gia would not be here. Because me and my husband are of different races.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And you wouldn't be able to make your inventions.
And
Oh, that's
well, we're at 7:43, so I don't want to cut into Alice's
sorry.
time.
Yeah.
No,
Thank
that's
you
okay.
for sharing, everyone. Oh, sorry.
I
didn't mean
know
to-
Alice had a few slides to share with us, so why don't we pass it on to her?
Okay, I'm going to give you access right now. Change host. Okay, Alice, you got hosting duties now.
Can't hear me. Can you all see that now?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
very good. All right, so I'm going to change it up. I think you all have done a beautiful job in discussing Opal Lee and what it means to be free. I'm certainly delighted that I have the opportunity to vote. I'm certainly delighted that I've had opportunity to go to all of my public schools and all of my public high schools. I've been educated in all public institutions. Delighted that my mother was one of the first Black teachers to integrate in terms of teaching, to integrate the schools in my city. I'm from the city of Memphis. And so, I'm grateful to Opal Lee that she worked to get Juneteenth as a national holiday. So you can, wherever you are, you can repeat after me. Freedom, hope, and joy divine. Juneteenth means it's freedom time. And so that's my favorite line for the book, or that's my favorite line from the book. But what I now want to do with you all is I want to share with you my new book, which is about, this is Black History Month. I want to share with you my new book, which is about the Mississippi Delta Blues. Delta Blues is the foundation of rock and roll. Rock and roll is considered the original American music. Blues is considered the original American music. Without Black folks and the blues, you don't have international rock and roll. And most people don't realize that the Black voice, Black music is foundation of rock and roll, right? Which is international. All right, and so I'm going to read this book. The illustrator is Chris Rosca, who's a two-time Caldecott winner, and the writer is none other than myself, Alice Faye Duncan. Now, it's going to be interactive, so I need the kiddos, and if the adults want to participate, fine, but I really want the kiddos to participate. And I want kiddos to understand that you don't need tickets to travel. You don't need passports to travel. You can travel in books. You can travel in documentaries. You can travel with vloggers. You can travel with museums that have online exhibits. Traveling is the pathway to the promised land. You don't need a ticket. You just need a book. You just need Wi-Fi, the technology, and you can go anywhere in the world. So today we're going to travel. We're going to leave wherever you are, and we're going to go down south to the Mississippi Delta, where blues was made. And then it went all over the world. Yellow Dog Blues. Now, this book, specifically, what is this book about? Yes, it's about blues music, but it is also about my mom and dad. They got divorced when I was in 5th grade. So this book is about a blues fable about love, loss, and learning to let go. Every friendship that you have did not come to stay. Every relationship that you have, it did not come to stay. Some people come like scaffolding in a building. They come for a season. And then when you have gotten out of that relationship, what was necessary, what the Lord, good Lord wanted you to learn, the scaffolding comes down, people move on, and we love, sometimes we lose. But always, regardless of what happens, we have to learn to let go. All right. And so, kiddos, you have 4 magic words. When you see empty on the screen, you can shout empty. When you see gone, you can shout gone. When you see running, you can shout running. When you see band, you can shout band. Those are our 4 magic words. When one appears, you can say it loud. All right. Here we go. Our story begins. Little boy had a dog. Story begins. I woke up early one morning before the light of day. I fixed my dog a big pot of bones and breakfast scraps. Sometimes life is a mystery. Love is a mountain climb. The blues grabbed me like a shaking chill. I found my doghouse
Empty.
There you go. Yellow dog, I hollered with tears welling up my eyes. The rusty gate swung back and forth. My puppy love was
Gone.
Yes, it was. I crossed the road and asked Farmer Fred, did Yellow Dog pass this way? Bo Willie, he replied as he fed his spotted mule. Old Yellow hit Highway 61. I saw that hound dog.
Run.
I ran toward Cleveland on 61 and searched behind the grocery store. I searched around the garbage bin and beneath the grocery porch. No dog here, called Mr. Yee, dressed in his store apron. His wife pointed north. Yee Jr. brightly chimed in. I saw that dog on Dockery Farm where Muddy Waters played the blues. I hiked my heels toward Dockery, but did not see a soul. All I found was a faded sign painted in big letters. It said, Mississippi Boogie, visit Marigold. I raised my thumb and hitched a ride. Marigold was far away. It was much too far to walk or run in the Mississippi heat. Aunt Jessie saw me on the road and stopped her Cadillac. Then we drove to Marigold to shimmy, shake, and someone say it with me, boogie.
Boogie.
While Aunt Jessie and Mr. Willie danced under the disco lights, I searched the crowded club for my missing puppy love. He did not show up in Marigold, and my tears broke like a river. You better not stain my velvet seats, Aunt Jessie said to me, but she was a patient saint. She took her flower handkerchief and cleaned my snotty nose. I cried like a baby. I said, let's leave this juke joint town. Mr. Willie waved goodbye while chumping on his fat cigar. We moseyed up the crossroads to Highway 8 and 1. Yellow dog, I hollered across the lonesome road. Yellow dog was nowhere in sight. That dog had come and
Gone.
gone. Aunt Jessie's good luck charm wasn't bringing us no success. She got herself to thinking hard and followed common sense. She parked her caddy in Clarksdale at the Hicks tamale stand. A man on a corner gave a wild report, like something we'd never heard. He said, I saw a yellow dog. That scamp left here on a Greyhound bus. He was traveling with a band. A band. Aunt Jessie hollered to the heavens, where can that little dog be? I studied the map across my lap, and the answer looked back at me. Yellow dog. Yellow dog moved to Memphis, y'all. He followed the city lights. He sings the blues on Bill Street now. He sings all day and all night. What is the moral to this story? What is the lesson in this tale? Some dogs are very faithful. They will never leave your side. And some dogs are very faithful. They will never leave your side. And some dogs, y'all, some dogs are like my daddy. Some dogs will ramble and they run the road. They love you. They love you, honey. They love you. And then, that's right. And then they're gone. Yellow dog blues. All right. And so now what I want to say is, because this is very, very interesting, you all. This is very, very interesting. And this is probably, I don't know how many times I will read this book following this occasion. But I do know for the first time right here in this audience of 10 people, we have a collection of folks here who actually demonstrate and exhibit what is really special about this book, but it's not easily understood unless you know the history of the Mississippi Delta. And so I want to share it with you because you probably did not pick up on it. But anyways, in the Delta, first of all, this book, if you see here, this book is a traveling log through the Delta and where we went. Yellow Dog is running along what's called the Blues Highway. And the Blues Highway are these variety of stops in the Mississippi Delta that contributed to the birth of the blues. So if we look at Highway 61 is where a great majority of blues singers from the 1940s that give you Chicago blues, that give you electric blues, many of them started out in a very acoustic blues situation because they didn't have no electricity, y'all. And so they were just playing the acoustic guitar. But then when they go north with the Great Migration, that's when they discover the electric guitar. Dockery Plantation is where people like Robert Johnson learned how to play the blues. Muddy Waters learned how to play the blues. Pop Staples from the Staple Singers learns how to play the blues. Marigold Blues Club, was one of the last plantation blues clubs there in the South. And then you get the Crossroads, which is the mythic place where Robert Johnson supposedly sold his soul to the devil. Robert Johnson, who is the father of rock and roll. Hicks tamales are very much a part of the Delta culture. And then you got Memphis, and then you got Bill Street. But this is what I want to talk about. Let me see here. I want to talk about three things, not all on this page, but three things that really connect us all here. We have here in this group, we have Asians, we have African Americans, and then we have Latino Americans, right? Ruth, are you Latino?
Yes, ma'am. Puerto Rican
okay.
and Dominican.
Okay, and is
Rihanna's kids
anybody,
are also half Colombian.
okay, is anybody here Chinese?
I'm half Chinese.
Okay, very good. So we have Chinese and then I'm Black. Okay. So what's very special about the Mississippi Delta is that in the 1930s, you had Blacks, you had South Asian Chinese, and then you had Mexicans, you had Blacks, Mexicans, and Chinese. They were all these minorities that were living in community in the Delta because of Black folks were there because of slavery, but the Chinese came because of the need for migrant workers, and the Mexicans came because of the need for migrant workers. So literally, you would have Mexican workers that would migrate to the Delta during certain seasons for the agriculture work. You had Chinese who had come recruited really by white folk in the Delta to come thinking that the Asians would make ideal sharecroppers. But when they got there, the Asians began to create sundry stores. They began to create laundry mats. And then you had Black folks there who were sharecroppers, and Black folks there who were just cheap labor, maids, just labor workers, right? Unskilled, uneducated, unskilled labor workers. So all these three minorities, they come together, and what happens is, particularly when you had the Mexicans and Black folks living in community, in terms of the Epicurean, delights and the cuisine, you have this fusion of sorts that happens. So you now, if you go to the Mississippi Delta, you will have hot tamales, but the hot tamales you will have will be this fusion that Black people created when the Mexicans came. Black folks took their recipe, then made this fusion type of thing on all their own. Also, you have, people don't know this, but throughout the Delta, you had a great number of Chinese laundries, Chinese sundry stores, and they were people who did business, who gladly did business with Blacks and with the Mexicans during those migrant seasons that they would come. And so nobody really talks about the unity of these three cultures that coexisted without clash, or because all three of them were trying to make a life within the confines of white racial oppression, right? And so I just thought that was interesting. I don't know if it was a history that you all understood, don't know if it was a history that you knew about, but I just wanted to take the time to really highlight that and illuminate that, since we had those variety of cultures represented in this little Zoom chat. And also, whenever you get an opportunity to compare a Mississippi tamale with a Mexican tamale, you will be able to see how there was this melding or this fusion of cultures where you bring two different cultures together to make something really, really wonderful and awesome. And so hold on, what else do I have here? Yeah, and so that's what I want to share with you. I thank you all for allowing me to take liberty to sort of like turn the program in another direction. But also, if you want to get ready and get prepared for other books that are coming from me, I have 2 books that will be released in the fall. One is Traveling Shoes, about the life of Willie B. White, the first American to participate in 5 Olympic Games across 20 years, which means she stayed in shape for literally 20 years to compete in 5 different Olympic games, she traveled to Australia, she traveled to Rome, she traveled to Tokyo, she traveled to Mexico, and she traveled to Germany. She was there in Mexico when they had the riots, the college riots, and she was there in where the Palestinians and the Israelis, the Palestinians came and kidnapped the Israelis. That was in Germany, in Munich. So she was there for that. And then I have a new book, Coretta's Journey, that'll be in September. And it is looking at Coretta Scott King through the lens of prophecy, through the lens of protest, and through the lens of the patriarchy, that the patriarchal society of the movement in America that she had to overcome in order to use her voice and to give us the Dr. King that now exists in our collective imagination. And of Memphis Martin Mountaintop, it's already on the market. That's my other book. You know, if you're interested in sharing with your kids something new for Black History Month, then just go to my website, Alice Faye Duncan. You will see all these things. But then I want to leave you with this poem in my Traveling Shoes book. It's a poem about Willie White, where she's talking about what compelled her to find a life in athletics and to travel. And it says, I was never the smartest kid in school, but I was a mighty thinker, making plans and dreaming above the clouds. I wanted to fly, sail on ships, or catch some train to a shining, thrilling place. Old King Cotton was not my king. What would be my golden ticket? Old King Cotton was not my king. What would be my golden ticket? Old King Cotton was not my king. What would be my golden ticket? And her golden ticket was travel. Travel pays a path to the promised land. I thank you all for inviting me today. It was truly fun and delightful. And you know, be safe, be well, and have a happy Black History Month.
Yeah, so we're coming up right on 8 o'clock, 8:01 actually. So before we go, I just wanted to introduce the book for next month. It's Planting Stories, The Life of Librarian and Storyteller Pura Belpre. So this will be for Women's History Month. And we just had the ALA Awards just a few days ago. So that kind of ties into that, as well as MLK Day was also just a few weeks ago, and that ties back to Alice's books. We did have a question from Anne, who wanted to learn about your research process. So I want to be respectful of the time, we'll have Ellie announce the winner. If anyone wants to stay past time, if Alice could stay for a minute or two.
Yeah, I'm not.
She
I'm
can
here in
answer
Florence.
Anne's
Right.
question.
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay, so Ellie, do you want to announce? And it's going to be really cold in the Northeast tomorrow and Saturday, so I might mail it on Monday instead. It's like literally minus 42 with a wind chill for Friday and Saturday. So
Oh my
I
God.
might not go to
It's
the
gonna be a
post
little
office.
bit chilly.
might
And
not
I'm
go.
running outside.
Wow.
I don't know if that's safe actually.
Oh, we are going to wear a lot of layers. But I'm really so excited that we get to give out this free copy of the book that you just learned about, Opal Lee, and some great snacks. And so the winner is Gia.
Yay!
Yay, Gia.
So we just need
Yeah, say thank you.
Thank you.
so Ellie
really
will
quick.
email you for
Really
your
quick.
address, and I will mail it to you in a few days.
Oh, it's so
Oh, I like
cool,
your book.
guys. So I want to do a quick screenshot for a photo to put on our Instagram and tag you all. So I'm going to just do a quick screenshot. Ready? 1, 2, 3. wait. You're so cute. There you go. Got it. Thank you.
Thank you all for coming. I hope you will come back next month.
Thank you
Actually,
for
that
the
was a really bad
invitation.
picture. Can I do one more? That was really bad.
Okay,
Sorry. I was so delayed on my clicking. So ready? 1, 2, 3. There you go. That's much better. Thank you.
So Anne asked, what is your writing process?
I think
Oh, I'm sorry, your research process. I would love to
research,
hear about your
okay,
research process.
okay. I think something unique that I normally try to do is when I'm writing a nonfiction book, I try to find someone, even if it's something where nobody is alive, I try to find someone alive who is connected to that movement, connected to that person. So for Traveling Shoes, about Willie B. White, the Olympian, she is dead, but I found a variety of her a variety of her Olympic teammates, Ralph Boston, Margaret Wilburn, Pat Connolly. I just visited or telephoned and spoke with a variety of them because I wanted to connect. I wanted to be connected to something that was organic and alive, right? Memphis Martin and Mountaintop, I made sure that I contacted or interviewed a variety of people who were in the movement, were there when King gave his last speech, because I wanted to be connected to something organic that was connected to the book that I'm talking about or that I'm writing. So I just usually try to find someone that's living alive that is connected to my, like I usually try to find a primary source of someone who is a living alive connected to the folks or the situation I'm writing about. Whereas in Opal Lee, What It Means to Be Free, I contacted Opal Lee herself. In fact, I spoke with her yesterday. So, you know, and so speaking with her allowed me to just be in contact with something connected with her, because I always feel if I'm in contact with something living and alive, something organic, then it will infuse, like leaven and bread, it will infuse my text, is what I believe.
Did you like try to capture her voice? Like in like the
Not her voice, but I tried to capture her spirit. And so she is very much, she has a very infectious and spirit of joy and kindness and love. She is tenacious, unwavering in her pursuits. And so freedom, hope, and joy divine. Juneteenth means it's freedom time. You know, that was something that I came up with because it was who she is in the spirit, not necessarily what she would say, but it is the germ of her, I guess. You know, it's her spirit.
how wonderful that you could meet her and really, you know,
Yeah,
like
have
you
that
know
contact.
her.
Right.
Yeah.
It
And then
was,
try to
yeah.
find the words that convey her personality and
Yeah.
also her achievements.
Yeah. I do consider it a blessing for sure.
How were you able to connect with her? You just like, did you go on social media?
Well,
No?
it's what I always do. I always start with the white pages. I have
Old school white pages.
yeah. I mean, but it's the white pages online though, of course.
Right.
And so I looked her up in the white pages and I did not find her. I ended up finding her granddaughter, who is the person that escorts her, you know, all around the nation and stuff. And the granddaughter then connected me. I told her why I was contacting her, and the granddaughter connected us. And she was in agreement with what I was trying to do. And so I was able to write the book.
Did you write a letter, or because how did you get the email?
I wrote an email. I wrote an email to her first. And I wrote an email to the granddaughter. I found who the granddaughter was. I could never find something for Opal Lee herself. But once I contacted the granddaughter, and the granddaughter had, because they have an organization, granddaughter had a telephone number on her website, and I stated my case, and she was like, okay, you know, you're
tenacious yourself.
Absolutely, I am.
Unwavering.
Absolutely, I am. Because I have a dream. I have a dream, baby. Like Martin Luther King, I got a dream.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you for sharing. I just love your personality.
Thank you.
As you said, your spirit is very soothing.
Thank you. Thank you. And God bless you for your pursuits. Speech, my mother's, one of my mother's best friends was a school speech pathologist. And so I thought of her, she's passed now, but I thought of her. One of our church members, Marva Conley, is a speech pathologist. She went to Beloit College and then came back and got a degree from UT in my city where I live. And so what you're doing, teaching people, how to take care of their voices and how to speak when they are hindered from not how to use their voice. That is very important. Like giving people of their voice, right?
Yeah.
That's amazing. It's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, that's the passion, helping little kiddos. I feel it's like that's the fundamentals, right, of our communication, speech and hearing. So it's I was actually observing, I know it's late, guys, so I'm sorry, just a little anecdote. I was observing a classroom, and there's this, it's for kindergarten, and there's this little girl, and she babbles, like she's not able to speak properly, and she's unfortunately not receiving any services and help. And I'm just like, oh God, like, what is it, because you don't want to judge, you don't know what the parent situation is and whatnot. They're not educated on or they don't have access to that information, but it's just, you can see where the help is needed. So it's kind of like a push, those late nights where I'm like, do I have to really finish writing this paper? I'm like, do it for the kids. Yes, do it for the kids. But yeah, so that's why I honestly love the children books. It's like I was saying, we learned so much. I mean, I learned so much through your book. So yeah, really appreciate it.
You're quite an inspiration, Alice. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And if we have children here who want to write, and the adults, I encourage all adults, regardless of what field you're coming from, I encourage all adults to just sometimes like allow yourself to sit down, get paper, get pencil, whatever is aesthetically pleasing to you to write or type, and allow yourself the opportunity to just be creative and try to write something, because all of us have experiences that are beyond just ourselves. Like the experiences that we're having, it's not just for us. It is so that we can take our wisdom and take our understanding and be a blessing to somebody else. And sometimes you have people who think, oh, writing a children's book is so easy, and it's just something that they're going to do. And that's not the case. You have to fight for it. It's not an easy thing to do, but it is a worthy vocation. And it's worth giving yourself an opportunity to create something for children,
What did you do before you became a children's book author, Alice?
Oh, girl, I'm a retired school librarian, child. I just retired in June. I was a school librarian for 30 years. So, yeah. So now I'm retired and I'm writing full time. But that was, I had to get those 30 years in before I could write full time.
Did you write your first book while you were still working?
I'm 55. I wrote my first book for Macmillan when I was 24. Wow. And it was like the first year. It was the first year that I taught school. Is also the first year that I sold my first 2 books. And so I've been writing professionally since I was 24, but not writing prolifically. It's been very fledgling, right? But you get better. It's like teaching. I got better at it with the years. And so it is with the writing. I've gotten better with it over the years, and in increments, I keep experiencing a little bit more of success, but I'm not going to give up. I just keep on keeping on, as the old folks say. I keep on keeping on, and I write what I'm inspired to write. And so yeah, so I've been writing for 30 years, and I've been teaching school for 30 years. But
what is your writing like habit? Like, do you have a daily routine of like how long you write each day? Or is
it's not religious, you know what I mean? it's basically when I'm inspired and I have a project. So when I have a project, I am dedicated to it. I am unwavering because it's singularly focused. This is what I'm working on. This is my goal. And I have a deadline that I want to finish for myself. So like right now, the last deadline I had for myself was maybe about like 2 weeks ago. I had spent like a whole month and a half researching and collaborating a book about sound. And my mother is sick right now. But even with my mother being sick and going through her thing, I was dedicating my time to caring for her and also getting that book done because I had a deadline that I wanted to do for myself. Now that I don't really have anything that I'm working on, then I'm sort of like, just like, you know, doing things like this, volunteering my time here, speaking, and then caring for my mother. But as soon as I find something that I have to give my attention to, then I'll be singularly focused again. But
Your
right
next
now,
inspiration, right?
yeah.
It sounds like you get inspired quite frequently.
Oh, all the time. I mean, but because the thing is, like, inspiration is everywhere, right? Inspiration is living. Inspiration is life. Who was that? Ruth was talking about the kid babbling, and immediately I thought, Ruth needs to write, you know, there's a story there. There's a story there, like giving voice, you know, like, you know, a story about a babbling kid finding voice. You know what I mean? So it's like stories are everywhere. I found them everywhere.
Just gave me an idea.
Yeah. And so, you know, so that's it. I thank you all for listening. I thank you all for this invitation. And again, because I never know another time when I'm going to be in an atmosphere where we have Black people, Asian people, and Mexican people together to really see the power of the Yellow Dog Blue story. Because when I wrote it, that was something I wanted to make sure that it was clear that children clearly saw Mr. Yi is Asian.
I did see that. I
Right,
did.
right. And that because Asian sundries are still in Cleveland, right? I mean, you know, you still have a sundry here, sundry there. They're not as prevalent as they were because the Asian children have their moms and their dads did everything to educate them, and then they left. They was like, we ain't coming back to you. Like you took care of us. You took care of us with the businesses that you had. But now that we're educated, we're not coming back to no Cleveland, Mississippi. We're educated. We have degrees from Yale. We have degrees from Boston University. Why would we come back? We're not coming back here. So you have very few of the Asian demographic who have said, we want to come back and invest in this land that has, you know, and the Mexican migrant pattern is not like it was. It's now, it's just different. The migrant pattern is different from the 30s. And then you have Black people who are still there. And there's, as you see, Mississippi is all anew. So they're still enduring and struggling with that systemic racism that involves their lives. But what is the universal language, and what is that thing that gives all of us joy? That's music. And so I wanted to
And
write
food.
about that.
Music
and
and
food,
food.
right? Music and food. And I wanted to write about those things.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Yep. So anyways, thank you all.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank
Congratulations.
Thank
Have a
you so
wonderful night.
much.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Have a good night. Thank
Good
You
you.
night,
too.
everyone.